We're going to talk to you about what's going on with Seattle. We got this story from Town Hall. Seattle moves to abolish entire police force. I noticed that they added a little editorialization here. Insane.
Yeah.
I would argue that's a fact.
Yeah. Finally, some good reporting.
There you go. They say, well, it may be time to deploy the military to Seattle after all, because of what local lawmakers are doing is nothing. Because what local lawmakers are doing is nothing short of allowing the city to be engulfed in violence and anarchy. They're moving to abolish the police. It's not defunding. It's a total dissolution. Nonprofit programs and community-led activities will replace policing. Why? Well, according to the resolution, the Seattle Police Department perpetuates racism and violence. Oh, yes. And it's a vehicle of white supremacy. It's typical woke nonsense. And it's a cancer that's killing America. So I'll pull up this. This is a tweet from Christopher Rufo. Breaking: Seattle City Council moves to abolish the entire police department and replace it with a civilian-led department of community safety and violence prevention.
Oh, boy.
You know what this is? This is like you've got people ready to stab each other and someone arguing that a calm conversation, a glass of hot cocoa will make everything all better.
Yeah, I see it more like you have terminal cancer, all right? And chemo, we might be able to help you with chemo. But instead of doing chemo, let's just exercise and eat healthy.
That's actually a really good point. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, I know.
It's the Steve Jobs cure. You know, he got pancreatic cancer and he was like, I know, I'll eat a bunch of fruit, and then he died.
Yep.
Well, this is. You know what, man? I'll tell you what. They complain about QAnon, they complain about right-wing conspiracy theories and Alex Jones, and they ban them all. And then they let the left-wing conspiracy theories run rampant. And this is what you get. This is the crystal healing version of policing. They're going to have people coming out. How much you want to bet? The community-led violence prevention people will be wearing crystals.
I don't know. All I know is it just feels like every criminal in this country is going to be like, oh, open game. It's open season on Seattle.
Wow, man, time to go to Seattle.
What are they gonna do? Let's talk this out. They had a warlord in Seattle, a warlord, and that was with the police. What do you think's gonna happen when if there's no police?
There's some dude in Seattle is gonna be like, wow, no police. He's gonna walk outside with a gun and go bang, bang, bang. Look at me. I'm the police now.
This is my block now.
What are they gonna do with community? You know what? It really is it's the coffee enema fruit cure for cancer. I'm not making that. That's a real thing.
That's what I'm saying.
They get. Yep. It's like
they're getting rid of the medicine for crime and just going right to like what causes crime. Let's just talk to everybody. It's like, well, crime's not going to just disappear. It still exists. And in fact, criminals that are out in the world, they're going to flock to Seattle because there's no police to stop them. Or to investigate things that have actually happened. My goodness.
So this website's not loading all too well, but let's see if I can pull up Christopher Rufo's thread. He says, in the proposed legislation, the council argues that the Seattle Police Department perpetuates racism and violence and upholds white supremacy culture.
Where are they getting that information
Smithsonian.
from?
I'm sorry. The police have schedules. They work hard.
They work before play.
Yep.
That's a good point.
They believe in time.
Well, they did take that down. That map of what whiteness is.
Yeah.
So maybe they were backtracking.
Yeah, but they still believe that stuff.
I know they do. You're right.
They're getting rid of it because they realized regular people thought it was crazy.
Yep.
He says the council endorses the decriminalize Seattle agenda that would replace the police force with culturally relevant expertise rooted in community connections, housing, food security, and other basic needs. So socialism, right there.
Yep.
Huh.
Trauma-informed, gender-affirming, anti-racist praxis. What?
Whoa. Word salad.
What?
Help! 911! I have an emergency. What do you need? I need trauma-informed, gender-affirming, anti-racist praxis. Oh my God! They're on their way. What does that even mean?
Why couldn't my question with all this stuff? Why couldn't they just have introduced all this stuff with the police? Like what is it? Like why don't they bringing community together? That sounds great.
It's
I mean, I don't know about that last bit, but I mean, getting rid of police completely sounds insane. Like the beginning of that article that was talking about it.
You ever watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
I've seen a few episodes. Yeah.
There's one where they start taking I can't remember which character. It's been a long time since I watched, but they try to get healthy, And so 2 of the characters have been taking a ton of supplements.
Okay.
And then one's like, I think it's Dennis. He's like, how are you feeling? And the other character is like, I've been feeling pretty sick. I've been getting like, diarrhea a lot. Oh, that's you're flushing the toxins out. Now me, I'm so efficient. I haven't taken a dump in days. So
Oh my
like
goodness.
the point is, they view the police as the toxins.
Yeah.
And I've talked to a lot of people who believe in like weird hippie conspiratorial medicines and stuff.
Okay.
And their attitude very much so is like, there's no way to be wrong. So in this regard, it's like, nah, the police, man, they're the problem. Okay, well, how are you going to deal with this? No, you don't understand. They are the problem. No matter what you say, no matter what you do.
No. Saying that you can never be wrong is the problem.
Right.
That is an issue. Everyone can be wrong. I can be wrong. I don't mind being proven wrong because that makes me realize that I was wrong and now I can be right. Instead, I would much rather be right than wrong. My goodness, this is for the people asking. A lot of people were asking what praxis is. I got the definition here. It says praxis is the process by which a theory, lesson, or skill is enacted, embodied, or realized. Cool. Does that help?
I think I've got to issue a title correction real quick.
Go on.
They move to abolish. I think that's different from votes to abolish. So in all fairness, I will issue that live correction right now, just in case, because it may actually be they've proposed the abolishment.
Okay, so it's like what's going on in California with affirmative action. They've moved to put it on the bill or on the voting ballot so people can vote for it. So they haven't actually voted to abolish the police department yet.
That sounds
So
great.
right, so this is the resolution they've put forward so far, but
Okay.
they've already expressed they have a veto-proof majority
to put it on the docket.
No. The city council is going to confirm it. Then, however it goes through.
Don't the people still vote on it?
I don't believe so. In Minneapolis, they didn't.
Oh man.
I'm pretty sure the city council just says like, boop.
Okay, that's scary.
Maybe not. I don't know. I could be wrong.
It's just a calling card for criminals that want to just go. I mean, what are they going to do?
It reminds me
It's
of
crazy. The thought of having no police is not a place I want to live in.
It's utopian thinking, man. It's,
Well, they what do they think, that everyone wants to live peacefully? Because that's not the case. There's always going to be people that would rather just take your stuff than go work for their own stuff.
what's that? There's that viral meme about putting the shopping cart back. It was like,
Yes, I remember this.
yeah, there's like a meme that goes around where it's basically saying that the shopping cart is the true test for a civilization.
Yep.
Because you're rewarded nothing for doing it. It's not so you go to the store, you get your shopping cart, you go to your car, you load your car up, and then there's the cart corral. And
Yeah,
you
a
look
few
at your,
cars down.
You look at your cart and you look at the corral, and then you kick the cart and it just goes off and crashes somewhere, and then you get in your car and you leave.
Yep.
That's the point. It's like you could very easily just do the little bit of extra work to put the cart away.
Yeah.
Yet still the parking lot is littered with carts.
Yeah,
because-
people like to compare us to Sweden and talk about Sweden. It's like I've been to grocery stores in Sweden. Not one cart is out into anywhere. They all go back to the same spot in the spot. It's just like there's a general respect for society. Well, that doesn't exist here, and they're trying to make a socialist, city work. Well, that doesn't work if everyone isn't on the same page.
Exactly. That's the grand experiment.
Yep.
Sweden they've got border restrictions to varying degrees, I'd imagine.
Yeah, in some senses.
When I was trying to go from Denmark to Sweden years ago, they stopped and checked my passport.
Yeah, they do that still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also imagine if you flew in there, they'd stop and check your passport.
Yep.
Right? Which
Yep, they
means
do.
they keep some people out, I would imagine.
I'm sure they do. Yeah.
So if you live in the United States and you don't live in Seattle, and they announce they're giving away free stuff, and there's no police, what's to stop you from flying 4,000 miles from the furthest point in the States all the way to this other place you've never been to, you don't know anybody, you're not a part of the community, to get that free stuff?
Well, I mean, I think about the homeless problem in America, which is a problem. There are many homeless people in many cities. Why wouldn't they want to go to Seattle then?
They do.
I know.
They love
That's
it.
my point.
Man, there's a rail. I briefly lived in Seattle. I knew a bunch of these rail hopper dudes.
Okay.
So they would hop the freight trains and ride through the country to various areas where they knew they would get free stuff.
Well, Seattle's very quickly going to become a hotspot for exactly that. What did they do at Chaz? Within 3 days, they were like, all of our food got taken from the homeless people that bombarded our camp.
I don't think that was real. I thought that was
You don't think that was real?
I mean, the over the top tweet
Okay.
was, I believe, not real.
Okay,
I believe they did have serious problems.
I
with
think so too. And then look at New York. Look at the New
riot
York
ribs
Chaz that
and-
happened. Why did he take it down? His exact words were, "It's more homeless people than protesters
The New
now."
York Times said that. It's
Right.
just a homeless camp now because the activists left and the homeless took over, and it's just homeless people.
So the city of Seattle is doomed. That's
I don't
all
know.
I see now.
There's also a homeless camp in Philadelphia that was set up as like a Chaz kind of thing, and then the homeless came in and they were like, "Well, we're not leaving until they all get houses." Yeah, something like that, like places to live. But with what's going on in Seattle, we're gonna see this. I'm willing to bet we're gonna see it everywhere. And it's funny how they desperately try to have, Joe Biden is trying so hard to be both the I'm not for defunding the police and I am.
Yeah.
By using duplicitous language, like
a true Democrat.
Should we reallocate funds away from police? Yes, absolutely. Should we defund the police? Well, Joe Biden never said that. You're right. You're literally correct. He didn't literally say that.
Yep.
But he explained what defund the police was.
Well, I mean, they're actually abolishing it here.
And the reason
that's the plan anyway, I guess, right?
And I want to show you a picture that exemplifies why that's so amazing. It's a picture of a bunch of explosives.
Huh.
Mayor Jenny Durkan is asking for peace and an end to violence and vandalism. This does not get us closer to justice. I'm sorry, man. At this point, I just got to say I have no sympathy for people who live in Seattle.
I think I have a theory, if you'll bear with me for a moment.
Yes, what is the theory?
So I think the common thread that runs through this utopian ideal is the idea that people are basically good and that you can talk them out of crime. And I don't think it's true. I don't think people are basically good. I think it's a Rousseauian idea that has been disproven a long time ago. It's not culture that makes people bad. People are generally not good.
No, I disagree. I think the general amount of people are good. But in places like this, the people that aren't good are going to flock there. That it's like a moth to the flame. It's the open season on this area because there's no cops. So I can't get in trouble if I go do some crime there, and rob people or, whatever I want to do.
But the fact that the criminals are out there and that they're planning on coming there is, and Seattle thinks that they can just kind of talk them out of it, is just kind of idealistic to me. It's
yeah,
like
that's true.
utopian.
But saying that most people are not good, I will never agree with that.
Well, I don't think it's a matter of good or evil. I think it's a matter of survival.
Okay, I can see that.
I'm not going to blame the lion for eating a gazelle. Like, that evil lion just killed that gazelle.
Yeah, but that's not really comparable. I mean, we are humans. We know we're the ones who declare what good and bad is. So a lion killing and eating a gazelle is just the natural process. That lion's not. And I'm killing this gazelle and taking its wallet. And it's killing it to eat it because it's natural.
And when somebody takes advantage of another person to enrich themselves or better, strength, like to give themselves access to resources or power, or to benefit, it is someone preying upon somebody else. So it's not an issue of good or bad. It's an issue of stability, access to resources. But there are even people who don't need things who would still target, assault, steal, rob, or otherwise. What we're seeing here with like Seattle is you've got a hen house, you've got foxes running around. And they're like, maybe if we open the door and let the foxes in, everything will be all right.
Sure.
So it's
great. Have fun with that.
Right. I think it's fair to say because we're humans, we have a perspective on what we think is like appropriate human behavior. Like if a dude comes in and robs a bank, that's bad, obviously. Yep. So the issue is that person is, seeking to, ransack and steal and loot. Do we open the door for them or do we put guards in front of it and say, sorry, bro, you can't come in here and steal our money from our bank?
Well, that's the messed up part because that's not even what cops do. All the cops do are posted at banks. But for the most part, they show up after the fact to like see what happened, and they're not there to prevent crime. I mean, in a sense, they are because their simple presence stops people from doing it because they know that they're there and they will get in trouble for it.
So what do you think happens when you repeatedly tell people of low cognitive function that all police are bad and that all they do is violently beat random people and then these people come to believe it? I will tell you something. I have a tweet for all of you.
Oh.
I believe this tweet shows an example of people who clearly don't know what it is police do.
Yep.
Here's the tweet from a Twitter user with the name Abolish Police. I was just assaulted by this man on Sunrise and Gold Center. He tried to break my car window, grabbed me out of the car, hit me, and spit on me. He followed me to my work and threatened to kill me. Please help me identify him so I can press charges and file a restraining order. Gee, I wonder who will enforce such orders and help you file such charges.
Oh,
So,
man. That's embarrassing.
It's kind of like you were saying about getting rid of chemo, but it's actually more interesting than that. It would be like walking into a hospital and complaining about one doctor who's got a malpractice lawsuit and demanding we abolish all hospitals.
Yep. I
It's
agree.
like this hospital service, our hospitals across this country service millions upon millions of individuals every single month across the country. And there were 9 instances where a doctor accidentally dropped a junior mint into a person while he was getting surgery. Abolish all hospitals. Abolish all doctors. All of them got to go.
Hey, hold on.
What-
Have you ever... Has that happened?
The junior mint thing?
Yeah.
From Seinfeld.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah. It
That's
was
a great reference,
oh
though.
my
It was do you know the episode?
No.
Like Kramer is like looking down and he's eating junior mints, and then
Oh,
one falls.
yeah. They're
into
up on the balcony
yeah.
thing. Right.
A
I do
junior
remember
mint
that.
falls in.
Oh no.
Think of how stupid does that sound? We
sounds
must
pretty
get rid.
bad.
Now hold on. Now what if someone said, you know what? We do have doctors. Now here's where it really does get interesting. We have doctors that provide service to millions upon millions of people per month. I don't even know how many people per year actually go see doctors.
Yeah, who knows?
Would it be crazy to call for medical reform because 9 people had botched surgeries and died?
Nope.
I don't think so.
I
don't
agree.
think so.
I don't think so.
Like, what are we do? I mean, actually, I think a review might make sense. Like, well, 9 people shouldn't have died. We should review those cases and figure out how to make sure that doesn't happen ever again.
They do.
Right.
Newsflash,
Exactly.
they do. Even
Now-
and to bring it back to what you're actually talking about, even the cops that do that, they do that. There is a review, so that actually happens already.
So you know what the problem ends up becoming? There are absolutely instances where police abuse their power.
Okay.
Chicago. I was reading this story from Fox 32. One of their units was literally committing home invasions. They disbanded the unit. That's
Wow.
the least they could have done,
Wow.
right? So the problems exist. And there are dirty doctors. They issue fake prescriptions. They get people hooked on opiates, all that stuff. They get arrested. It's already illegal.
Yeah.
Now, I understand in this analogy, the challenge is that who polices the police, right? You've got internal affairs and there's still politics involved. So there can be some challenges that I get.
And the fact that like a bad cop can get fired and just go 4 counties down, get a job at a different place, and they'll take him on. Like, yep, oh, you're a cop. All right, cool. No worries. We got you.
That's arguably true for any industry.
That's a good point.
Like, look
You're
at
right.
journalists.
Well, I mean, that's an issue, though. That's something that we should look at, and that does need to be changed. 'Cause
A
that's
journalist let's say hypothetically there was a guy who worked for BuzzFeed News and he wrote a bunch of fake stories about people associated with SJWs, anti-feminism or conservatism, and he lied about them left and right to damage their careers and get them banned from YouTube. Then imagine he got hired by the Financial Times and was caught spying on another newsroom and was forced to resign over it.
Yep.
A guy like that could simply go to another outlet and find a new job. That's a real story.
Sure could,
It's
yeah.
An actual guy who did that. We see it all the time. So are we going to call for journalism reform now? Not one journalist will. I guarantee you that.
I would love a journalist reform. I would love some sort of something to curb them in. I know we talk about it, freedom of speech. Like people need to choose who they listen to.
Well, it's also private industry.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you actually deal with that stuff. But I will point out, if we think that there's going to be a certain margin of failure for any industry, even police, the problem becomes what's appropriate. If one person out of the 300 million interactions with police dies because a cop did wrong, do we need to abolish all of the police? No, that's literally insane. Do we need police reform? I mean, if there's one guy, I think we arrest the cop who abused his power and killed the guy. Maybe, and we do an internal review as to how it happened and try and make sure it doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
But what happens when you end up with something like Ferguson, hands up, don't shoot, where it literally turns out never happened?
Yep.
What happens when you get people who riot for actual criminals, which has happened all the time?
True.
You know, they talk about Black Lives Matter, but one thing that often doesn't get brought up is that although we can agree that George Floyd shouldn't have died, what about the people in Seattle, not Seattle, I'm sorry, St. Louis and other places, not Michael Brown, there were other people who, and Milwaukee, for instance, who actually had guns, actually shot at cops and then got, killed in self-defense. They still riot for these people.
Yeah, I don't get it.
So I'll tell you what's going on right now. You'd think Portland was over, right? It's not. You know why? What do you think the activists are saying now?
What are they saying?
At first, it was defund the police, get the feds out of there. All right, free the protesters, and Ted Wheeler resign. Those were the demands. Okay, so here's what happens. The feds stay in the courthouse because Oregon deployed state law enforcement into the courthouse as well. And then activists stopped Antifa from throwing explosives. That's all. Everything, according to The Guardian and a couple other outlets, that's what went down last night. So now, what are the activists demanding? Are they leaving? Why aren't they leaving? They won. They're saying we still haven't brought those officers to justice yet. That's right. There is
the ones that were rightfully holding back the rioters from burning the courthouse down. Is that who they're talking about? Do they even know who they're talking about?
I don't. Let's just say yes.
Okay.
And so the issue then becomes, no matter what happens, they will keep saying we haven't got our demands yet.
Yep.
So it's like, here you go.
They just want to burn the courthouse down. That's it. They
But
want to burn whatever evidence is in there. I'm just convinced of it now.
I think they just want to break stuff. I think
They can break anything. They're focused on the courthouse. Why? There's something in there they want.
Trump. It's a symbol of Trump.
The feds. But now it's not the feds that are holding them back.
And then
now.
all of a sudden, they're not throwing firebombs anymore.
Good point.
Yep. The state police came in. Oh, we can't have them claiming the Democrat secret police are oppressing us. So all of a sudden, the protesters stopped Antifa from throwing explosives. But they allowed it when it was the feds. That's the point.
Yeah.
It's a symbol they're attacking. They're angry. It makes no sense. And as soon as they can find some kind of political advantage, they're like, whoop, 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 whoop. Everybody calm down. Everybody calm down. We don't want Trump to look good anymore because he was. So now in an interview with the Oregonian, they asked the protesters, like, what's going on? And they said, we can't leave until these officers are held accountable. It's like, oh, okay. So it's never going to stop.
Never.
It's going to be this way until the election, I guess.
Yeah, that's the perfect getaway for them. It's like, because the cops weren't doing anything wrong. They were holding people back from burning the courthouse down. So now they're like, well, now we could just be mad forever. Haha. And we could just riot and continue.
Let's talk about what it is police do, okay?
Sure.
In the context of doctors, do you go to a doctor and then he says, like, I'm going to give you medicine and you'll never get cancer? That's a ridiculous analogy, but yes, with vaccines. I'm going to give you this medicine and it will prevent you from getting this disease. There's preventative actions.
True. Okay.
By doctors. Now, with the police, is there preventative action? There actually is.
In a sense, yeah, for sure.
The fact that cops are patrolling is in fact a deterrent, especially if cops are actively patrolling areas like they do this in New York. They'll go into certain neighborhoods, whether you like it or not, and that can act as a deterrent. The same thing is true in Chicago. Then what do they do after you've been the victim of a crime? They seek to remedy it. I actually find that in a lot of circumstances, I have not had good luck with cops remedying serious crimes. And I don't even know how you actually get someone in trouble for, like, I don't know, non-violent crimes like financial crimes is beyond me. I had a landlord once steal a check out of my trash can and forged my signature.
Whoa.
And when I went to the police, they were like, we're not going to do anything about that.
What?
Yep.
How? Why? Like, that's a felony, isn't it?
Serious crime.
Yeah. Whoa.
So the problem was that I wrote a check for rent, but I'd never signed it.
Okay.
Because I was going to be traveling, so I pre-wrote 2 months in advance.
Okay.
But then they told us we had to move out because they were reclaiming the property, the landlords.
Okay.
So I had my checkbook, and I just threw the checks in the trash, and I tied the trash up, and then I forgot to take it out. One day I look, and there's a cash check in my bank account, and clearly not my signature on it.
Wow.
So I called my bank, and they said, if you want the money back, we can do that, but you have to file a police report. So I walked to the local police, and they said, no, we can't handle that because this is the wrong department. You got to go to this department. So I walked to the next department, and they said, what are you talking about? We're not even in your neighborhood. You got to go back to the other department. So now I got mad. I go back to the other one, and I actually started screaming at them.
Whoa.
I was like, I want to press charges. I want my money back. My bank will give it to me unless you guys file this report. And then finally a supervisor came out and said, fine, fill this out. Here you go. And that was it. They never did anything about it.
Wow.
But I did get my money back.
All right.
So anyway, the point is, yeah, a lot of people get mad about that stuff too. I'm still not stupid enough to say abolish all of the police.
Yeah.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. If you want to catch the full show, tune in to this channel, subscribe, hit the like button, or check us out on iTunes and Spotify, and we will soon have this podcast up for free on all podcast platforms. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all in the next episode.